Hey y'all! So I just wrapped up with week 1 of my prep and I recorded my leg workout and my back workout, and I wanted to kind of go through each exercise and let you know what I did, how I'm training. The next 2 weeks are going to be gaining muscle while trying to lose fat. So my training primarily is compound movements, doing a lot of volume. So I'm doing 4 sets of 10, 5 sets of 8, and working on a lot of that time under tension, which is the amount of time you keep your muscle working. So for example, if I'm doing a biceps curl, which I know is an isolation exercise, if I'm doing a biceps curl and as I let the weight down, I'm going to try to go for like a 1 to 3 second negative rep. So a lot of the damage is caused in the eccentric or the negative portion of the rep. And that's good. We want to create these little micro tears in the muscle, and then rest outside of the gym helps us rebuild. So the goal is to cause a little bit of muscle damage and rebuild bigger, stronger, faster on the other side. So let's get to these workouts. First one's legs, second one is the back workout. With 3 sets of 5 hang cleans. I love doing Olympic lifts because it helps to tie the physique together aesthetically and will help to fire up the central nervous system. Just 95 pounds here, nothing too crazy. After that, I move on to back squats, and I'm doing 5 sets of 8 here at 135, focusing on the negative or eccentric portion of the rep. And I'm doing a little bit of a pause mid-rep at the bottom. So that pause helps me really put the emphasis on my glutes and my hamstrings, shift my weight back to my heels. Having a longer torso, I have a little bit of a tendency to rock forward onto my toes and hit my quads a little bit more. So changing the weight distribution during that mid-rep pause really helps me focus more on the glutes. So about 45 seconds in between each set, and then I'm off to the next exercise, which I did a push here with the squats. I'm going to go ahead and go to a pull movement, which is Rdls, and I've got 135 pounds on the bar. I'm doing 5 sets of 8 here, taking 45 seconds to a minute in between. You'll notice I've got a bumper plate. Gives me a little bit longer range of motion, and I like the lower portion of that range of motion. So I really like to feel that stretch. I don't so much pull the weight all the way up because I feel like I lose tension in my glutes and my hamstrings. So you'll notice too that kind of keep my head down and keep my hips tucked under, and that's going to also help me really focus on glutes and hamstrings. So a little bit of a pause at the bottom too. Then we're back to a push. So we've got hip thrusts, 135 again. It is my favorite weight to do, apparently. So with this exercise, I like to focus on tucking my chin. Tucking the chin will help keep the back flat. There's a tendency to look up when you're doing this exercise and arch the back. That can really hurt your lower back. So make sure you're tucking your chin. Make sure you're bringing your heels as close to your glutes as possible. You should really feel this exercise in the glutes. And for this, I did 4 sets of 10 and really felt that squeeze at the top. So again, working solely on that mind muscle connection and a little bit of an isometric hold, trying to build my glutes because I have a tendency of losing the glutes as I lean down, which I think a lot of us do. So on to sumo stance, elevated kettlebell squats, or I guess deadlifts would be a more accurate description. But the wide stance, toes out, I put my knees out too. So knees should always follow the direction of the toes. With this exercise, I focus on keeping my upper body upright as much as possible. So chest up. And to do that, I take the kettlebell and I move the kettlebell out away from my body to counterbalance myself. So the kettlebell is a great tool. If you don't have a kettlebell, you can use a dumbbell for this exercise. And 4 sets of 10 here. Again with that mid-rep pause. Anytime you're training muscles you can't see, I like adding that mid-rep pause for building just because it allows you to kind of strengthen that mind-muscle connection, slow everything down, and really focus on the muscle you're trying to work. So going to a little bit more isolation stuff, calf raises. I really like this standing calf raise because it works the gastrocnemius, which is the largest calf muscle, and I'm trying to grow my calves. So I go slow here and try to do a little bit of a pause both at the bottom and at the top of the rep. So it's something a little bit different than just repping it out. And I think calves need different stimulation than we would get, say, walking every day. So it's really important to train them in different ways with different tempos. Looking very tired there. On to back day. So I like to start back day with a warm up of 3 sets of as many reps as possible pull-ups. And I vary the grip on these, but I like to do a little bit of a pause with this one too, because my shoulders have a tendency of taking over, and I can angle my body in different ways to really feel those lats firing. And I think it's a good way to start the workout. On to dumbbell rows, another great exercise. And you'll notice I start with my left side first. My left lat is smaller than my right side, and a lot of us have a little bit of asymmetries. So I like to start with the non-dominant side and let that dictate the number of reps that I do on the dominant side. So it's really important for building an even body from right to left. And if you never plan on competing, this is really key for just injury prevention. So switching sides, going to that right side, and think about keeping the chest and shoulders parallel to the ground. A lot of times we tend to lift heavy and shear the shoulder one way or another, but you get a lot more out of it going lighter and really focusing on a pure pull. So we're on to the next exercise, which is a close grip lat pull down. And when I say pure pull, I mean considering the palm of your hand or your wrist to your elbow as being part of the machine itself, and you're just pulling from and through the elbow. So that kind of helps. Think of like your lower arm as the anchor, and the lats should be doing all of the work. And with this exercise, I tend to sit up a little bit taller because I do feel it more in my lats. And if you have a hard time with mind muscle connection, it might make sense to videotape your workouts to see where your lats fire best. So on to the next exercise. We're doing some T-bar rows here. I use 25-pound plates because I get a larger range of motion with those 25-pound plates. And again, with the pausing mid-rep. With the muscle groups you can't see, it's really important to do this. And with everything here, I've been doing 5 sets of 8 just because I'm working on building muscle. So 5 sets of 8, and keeping my rest to about 45 seconds to a minute in between sets. So that heart rate is definitely still up at this point. On to the dumbbell pullovers. This was actually one of Arnold's favorite exercises. It was one of my favorites when I was throwing javelin in college. And this is awesome for building those upper lats and building power. So I think a powerful physique on stage looks that way. You're working on those fast twitch muscle fibers, which are fuller and kind of juicier, if you will. So going a little bit heavier here. I like to control the negative and kind of power through the concentric portion of the rep. I don't bring the weight all the way up because I want to keep constant tension on the muscle. So that's the idea throughout these workouts. Now we're on to single arm cable lat pull down. Again, I'm starting with my left side because that's the side that I want to try to build. So working on an even pure pull, trying to rotate my shoulder blades back and down, and 4 sets of 10 here with 45 seconds rest in between. So this is a great finishing exercise, and this is a great exercise for building width across the back. So you think about what you're trying to create, whether it's for stage or just in daily life. If you're building width across the top of your body, it's going to make your waist look smaller. So, a lot of times we can't change our waist size, but we can certainly build a superhero physique with weights. There you have it, week 1 of training. Week 2 coming up soon. The days are flying by. So excited that you're sharing this journey with me. If you have any questions, comments, or if you want to see anything in particular, just comment below. Thanks for watching. Until next time, train hard, y'all.